Well, well, well. Some of you were wondering if fall spring meant it was safe to say winter was over. Some of you are going to get a rather pronounced answer come Sunday. Let's talk about who may be getting a snowstorm in this Thursday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, it's the 8th of February, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy and Chief David Reimer. A busy forecast period ahead as we deal with the chance for snow. Thunderstorms, some rowdy thunderstorms, and heavy rainfall over the weekend. Let's get into it with today's high-resolution rapid refresh model. This will give us a peek of what we're expecting for today, tonight, into Friday. Some scattered showers this morning across the eastern third, eastern half of Texas. Not a whole lot expected out of that, and those spotty showers may continue into tonight and Friday morning with partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions anticipated across the state of Texas. Overall, not expecting significant precipitation today, tonight, or tomorrow, but can't rule out sprinkles or a light shower here and there. But no severe thunderstorms, no snow, no flooding, no sharknadoes. Now, that will not be the case as we get into Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a look. This is the North American model. This is a shorter range, somewhat higher resolution weather model, not as high resolution as in the 48-hour time frame, but this goes out 84 hours. The reason I'm showing you this is to give you an idea of what the rain chances may look like Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday across the state of Texas. As you can see, a wet period expected Friday night into Saturday across frankly, a majority of the state of Texas at this point, at least the eastern 75% of the state. Now, it's not going to be a prolific rain producer for everyone. It's not going to be a prolific rain producer for most, but definitely the potential for measurable precipitation in the rain department on Saturday. So it would be a good idea to have indoor plans on Saturday if you are in the state of Texas. It might be okay if you're in places like the Big Bend, the Guadalupe Davis Mounds, maybe even the borderland. Now, as the plethora of blue shaded colors Sunday morning show, things get a little interesting on the backside of an area of low pressure. While a majority of our rain chances are going to be on Saturday into Saturday night, notice that wave Sunday morning across the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, with even the possibility of some scattered thunderstorms in Southeast Texas. Notice how the blue shaded region encompasses the Panhandle, even parts of West Texas, into Oklahoma Sunday morning. This animation stops at 6 a.m. because 6 a.m. is the outermost reach of this specific weather model. We're just starting to get into the range of the shorter range weather models, so for one, that goes to tell you we're still talking about a system 3-4 days out, and two, changes are likely, but the potential for accumulating snowfall is increasing. Now, this model specifically is actually a northern outlier, a northern solution. It keeps a majority of the snow along the north of Interstate 40. What I'm about to show you is the global forecast system, the American longer range weather model. It also does shorter range stuff, but mostly speaking, it does medium, longer range, and we rely on some of these higher resolution models as we get into the shorter range. Now, I'm going to show you is the global forecast system for the same time frame, but we're also going to go beyond 6 a.m. Sunday and through about 6 a.m. Monday. Now, starting at the same time as the previous model-ish, here's 12 a.m. Saturday. We'll continue on. You can see, same thing, scattered showers, storms, eastern half, eastern two-thirds of Texas on Saturday, a indoor day. Now, as we get into Saturday evening, scattered showers, storms, maybe western Texas, the Panhandle. But wait, look. Snow, the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, maybe even some flurries as far south as the Big Country with a big old snowstorm. The Panhandle into Oklahoma. This model would have the heaviest snows further to the south. This is a more southern solution, somewhat in line with the European weather model, or the European weather model is somewhat in line with this. Take your pick. This just goes to show we're dealing with differences in the forecast. In fact, this would have the heaviest snow along the north of Highway 82 and generally almost along in south of Interstate 40, but encompassing Interstate 40 and the northern Panhandle as well. We're only talking about a difference of what, 150, 200 miles? What's that? I mean, come on now. It's only the difference between Dallas, Oklahoma City, Dallas to, what, almost New Braunfels? That goes to show you we're still dealing with forecast differences here, and that is why sharing specific deterministic snow maps from any one weather model at this range is a fool's folly. Believe it or not, we do see the same data most weather weenies see. We're just more wise in our sharing abilities and our decisions on sharing the data. So, what is going to make or break this forecast? The track of an upper level storm system. Specifically, as the system intensifies to our west, it's going to start dipping down into the Four Corners region. New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Utah. As that occurs, when it starts dipping, the question is, when is it going to reach its southern periphery? When is it going to turn base and begin ejecting to the northeast? That'll determine the exact track of our storm system. The northern solutions would have that turn, that southern periphery base, a little sooner, so further to the north. This specific solution has it further to the south. It delays that initial base turn, thus allowing the system to dig a little further south before turning to the northeast, thus bringing the chance for snow further to the south into portions of West Texas, the South Plains, the Rolling Plains, and the Northwest Texas, in addition to the Panhandle. Specifically, what we're dealing with also is this will be a cooling from above situation, dynamic cooling. This is not a situation like several weeks ago where we had cold air in place before precipitation starts. This is going to be a situation where the storm system dynamics are going to allow for dynamic cooling. The atmosphere is going to cool from the top down versus us already having a cold air reservoir in place. Once the system departs, that cold air is not going to stick around. So the track of the system is key in determining snow chances, specifically because only under the core of that system are we going to get snow chances. Otherwise, it's going to be too warm, it's going to be rain. Hence why we're going to get rain further south in most of the Concho Valley, North Texas, the big country. So let's take a look at forecast rain totals across the state. Now, if you want to get technical, this also does include the liquid equivalent of any snow that melts after the fact. So at this point, we're looking at 1/10 to 1/2 inch of rain, Panhandle, Northwest Texas, southeast through Texoma, North Texas, Central Texas, the Hill Country, east through the coastal plains, the Victoria Crossroads, the Brazos Valley, the Arklatex, Northeast Texas. 1 to 3 inches of rain possible across Northeast Texas, East Texas, into portions of Southeast Texas. We may see a little bit of flooding issues in East Texas on Saturday into Sunday. Widespread flooding does not look likely at this time. We also may see some threat for stronger thunderstorms Sunday morning in Southeast Texas, with the chance for a few strong wind gusts, maybe a bit of hail. Can't rule out a tornado. We'll refine that threat as we get closer to Saturday and Sunday, so tomorrow really. But let's get in range of some of the higher resolution data, and let's get a finer tooth comb into the track of this upper level storm system, since the track will not only determine where the best chance of snow and accumulating snow will occur, but also any sort of severe weather dynamics that would support stronger thunderstorms as well. Rain chances end Sunday evening, and then it looks like we're going to be dry several days again next week. We're kind of doing this whole it rains Friday, Saturday, Sunday routine, and then we're dry. Now, here is our current winter storm outlook. Again, with all the caveats I've mentioned over the last several minutes, we're not sharing specific snowfall graphic forecasts right now. Again, it's a fool's folly. Data is literally trending between saying, hey, you may get an inch of snow in Amarillo, you may get a foot and a half of snow in Amarillo. Again, that is what deterministic guidance does. What we're doing here is we're following a track of consistency. We're trending the forecast towards what data shows, but we're not making wild flip-flop solution differences every time a different weather model comes in. That being said, here's a pretty good idea of what we're expecting as of right now, with the fact there will be changes. If the northern track solution verifies, we're going to have to pull this further north. If the southern track verifies, this kind of does encompass that a bit. That's where we're kind of trending right now, but we'd have to pull this also a little further to the southeast. As it stands now, the best chance for accumulating snowfall does encompass the Texas Panhandle. Let's just say roughly from Dimmitt to Plainview to let's just go over through Shamrock and points north, with the chance for at least some snow farther south. Let's just say Muleshoe to Lubbock to Childress, maybe Quanah, points north. And again, these will fluctuate. It is quite likely these are going to change as we get a bit closer, but it gives you an initial idea of what things may look like in the snow department come Saturday night and Sunday. Whatever falls will probably stick around through Monday morning, and then we'll get into the melting process pretty quickly Monday afternoon as temperatures rise above freezing. Yes, the potential does exist for this to be a significant snowstorm across portions of the Texas Panhandle, with the possibility of locations receiving 4 or more inches of snow existing. Exactly how high that threshold goes, well, that's also what we're going to be working on over the next several days. We're expecting a fairly wet snow, which will keep the liquid snow ratios on the lower side. Many weather models tend to use a 10-to-1 ratio, 10 inches of snow per 1 inch of liquid QPF rain. However, that doesn't work so well in our heavy wet snow situations we experience down here, where surface temperatures are usually right near freezing, so that snow tends to be heavier. It tends to be a wet snow, which reduces that snow to liquid ratio closer to 3-to-1 to 5-to-1. Again, it's a dynamic solution. It's not a consistent ratio at all times, but with that being said, weather models do tend to overestimate snow totals in these situations a bit. On the flip side, these dynamic systems can produce narrow, heavy snow totals in some cases, so that's also what we'll be watching for. So yes, the possibility does exist for this to be a significant snowstorm for parts of the Panhandle, maybe even West Texas, but that is far from a guarantee, and I remind you, we're talking 3 to 4 days out. Longtime followers, or those of you who have lived in Texas for quite a while, know that usually these forecasts, even within the 18 to 24 hour range from an event, there tends to be a surprise from Mother Nature. So trying to talk about specific snowfall totals for a specific location 84 to 108 hours out can be a fool's gambit. But we'll be watching it because that's what we do. And we'll be posting updates because that's what we do. And, well, living in the South, most of us are snow weenies in the fact we like snow. It goes away fast enough we can enjoy it while it happens and not have to deal with the repercussions of it sitting around for 2 months like further north. All right, temperatures over the next several days across the state of Texas today. What snow? High temperatures 70s, 80s, deep south Texas, 60s, Panhandle, West Texas, Permian Basin, borderland. 58 this afternoon in El Paso out in far west Texas. Tomorrow, highs 50s, Panhandle, West Texas, borderland. Higher terrain, Davis, Guadalupe Mounds, rest of the state, 60s, 70s. We're looking at mid to upper 80s. Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, Laredo, down to McAllen. Here is Saturday highs cooling off, only in the 40s and 50s in the Panhandle. I say only in the 40s and 50s. It is still winter. It is early February, and yet well, we've been spoiled so far this month. Highs otherwise 60s, 70s, low 80s once again. Here is Sunday. You can tell we're definitely switching the weather pattern around a bit with that system coming in. Highs in the 30s in the Panhandle and West Texas, 40s down into the Permian Basin, Northwest Texas, the borderland of far West Texas, the higher terrain, Davis, Guadalupe Mounds, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, southeastern half of Texas, with temperatures cooling off as a cool front moves from north to south. And again, even though we're talking about snow chances on the Panhandle, I want to emphasize we're not talking about a Arctic weather type pattern here. We're not going to have a plethora of cold air come in on the backside of the system. It's still going to be pretty warm in all things considered. Monday's high temperature forecast, we're talking about upper 40s in the Panhandle. Now, if we get a snowpack down, this will probably be lower to the upper 30s, because even though we're not talking about a major air mass shift in the sense of an Arctic outbreak, if we have a snowpack down, that will certainly keep the temperatures lower until we get rid of the snowpack. That being said, we will likely see considerable melting of any snow on Monday, with highs in the 40s and 50s across the northern half of Texas, 50s southeast Texas, the hill country central Texas, still 60s to almost 70s southern third of Texas. So again, all this front really is going to do is knock us back down to where we should typically be during early to mid-February in the weather department. It's going to be cooler because it's been warm the last couple of weeks mostly, but it's not going to be anything drastically cold at all. So, with that being said, still no signs of any major Arctic outbreaks infringing on our neck of the woods over the next week to 10 days. At some point in the second half of February and early March, we probably will be dealing with some sort of a more potent cold air mass, simply because longer range weather model and longer range, specifically weather indices, indicate we're going to flip into a pattern that would generally be favorable for the jet stream to bring some colder air south out of the northern territories and Alaska into the continental United States, specifically to North Atlantic Oscillation, which is going to go from where it's at now, which is near neutral, a bit above in the positive territory. It's going to dip way down into the negative territory, which tends to favor a Arctic air intrusion into the United States. Now, who gets what, how cold it gets, well, again, that's not really relevant to the current forecast, and, well, at this point, fool's gambit again, but it's winter. We're not done with the cold weather just yet. So that will be it for your very long edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. I got chatty. It happens. Winter weather, snow, you know. But we'll be keeping an eye on the forecast, and you can get your local forecast in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. To search for us in your phone's or device's app store. And as always, thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing our content here on the Texas Weather Center YouTube, and of course, where you may be watching this, our website, our mobile app. We thank you for using it. We hope you all have a great Thursday. The next Texas Weather Roundup video will be out by 7 a.m. Friday. We'll put some stuff out sooner as needed. And of course, we'll be watching for the latest weather model guidance in the snow department because, well, slicky, slicky, doom, doom. Yep. And we'll be dealing with it, so the weather won't be particularly pleasant this weekend with rain, storms, and snow. Y'all make it a great Thursday. Have a good one. God bless.